Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, it's happy to see you guys tonight. We will discuss our task from discourse analysis class. We have the title, A Short Analysis of Discourse Coherence. But for the viewer, I will introduce my friends, my college. The first is Angeline Krismasari. Say hi, Angeline. And second is Huzaifa Afifa Hamka. How are you, Huzaifa?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. The third, we have Sri Nurmanin Si Ali.
Okay, hello.
Okay. The third, we have Andi Makfira. How's life, Makfira?
So far I'm good.
Okay, it's fine. That's good to hear you good. The fifth, we have Andi Asti Ahyandita. Asti, are you there?
Yes, of course.
Okay. The sixth, we have Andi Ismi. Ismi, are you ready
Hi.
to discuss, Ismi?
Yes. Yes.
Can we also
Yes.
have the second male, Armansyah?
Yes. Thank you, moderator. Alhamdulillah, khair.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. And we also have Ahmad Miftah Zuhdi. Yeah. And the last is myself, Amri Amsari Said, as a moderator. Okay, we will start this discussion with a subtitle, definition of discourse coherence, that will be presented by my friend. Okay, time is yours.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for your I'm Angeline. I will present about definition of discourse analysis. In this part, this part will be explained by me and my friend Hutsaifa Afifamkan. So, first of all, let us see the history of the brief story of discourse analysis. So the history of the discourse analysis can be traced back to 1950s. Before 1950s, linguistics only focus on study about sentences level. But after 1950s, with the development of semiotics, cognitive science, and artificial intelligence, and etc., the focus of linguistic studies have been transferred or has been changed into the linguistic units target that is called discourse. So discourse, the one aspect that discourse studies becomes especially important is discourse coherence, which is discourse coherence is the way by which passages can be formed as a discourse. And move to the next slide. Okay. In learning about discourse analysis, there are two terms that people can often encounter. They are text and discourse. These two terms make some arguable around people, because these are two terms that there are in some writers used interchangeable in others carefully distinguished. The previous experts also divine about the difference between text and discourse in many various ways. For example, such as Stubbs 1983 and Coulthard 1986 85 distinguishes text as a written language from discourse as a spoken language, while Halliday and Hassan 19 and 76 on page 1 take text as a unit of language in use, which can be any passage, spoken or written or whatever length that does form a unified whole. And also many experts also make their own definition of these two kind of terms. So to find the best explanation and the differences between these two terms will be explained by the next speaker. So I think that's all from me. Back to the moderator.
Okay, maybe next slide, moderator. Okay, just now, my friend have explained about text and discourse. So I will continue. Text and discourse there are two different expression. So discourse is used as a coherent combination of sentence or sentence fragment that is the rule of communication interacted between participants. What is the definition? Defined discourse is grammatically the focus of attention in discourse analysis has shifted from its grammatically to its textuality. A term from Holiday and Hassan, 1979, to refer to what text from something that is next slide. Move to next slide. Okay, the notion of coherent is not strictly defined. Roughly speaking, discourse coherence is the semantic feature of the perfection red discourse itself. Okay, maybe just that for me. Back to the next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Angeline and Huzaifa. Yeah, the next we'll talk about general survey of discourse coherence that will be presented by me actually. So we have here a general survey of discourse analysis. One of the fundamental properties of discourse is its coherence. Since 1960s, linguists have been on the investigation of discourse coherence. The publication of Cohesion in English in 1976 by Halliday and Hassan is regarded as the origin of study of discourse coherence. A pragmatic perspective is taken by Widdowson in 1978 in his analysis of discourse coherence in terms of illocutionary act. Yeah. He defines cohesion as the overt relationship between proposition expressed through sentences, and then perceives the coherence of discourse as the relation between the illocutionary acts which propositions not always overtly link and been used to perform. Okay, Dessler in 1981 proposed 7 defining characteristics of a text, which they call 7 standards of textuality. According to them, any natural text, whatever text type it belongs to, share these characteristics. They are 1, intentionality, which is the fulfillment of author's intentions. Yeah. Number 2 is acceptability, which is relevance to the text receiver. Number 3 is informativity, which is right amount of information with regard to the reader. Number 4, we have situationality, which is location in discrete sociocultural context in the real time and place. Number 5, we have intertextuality, which is relationship with other texts which share characteristic with it. 6, we have cohesion, and last we have coherence. That the 7 characteristic in defining a text. From the above brief, review on previous approach toward discourse coherence to fact revealed. The first is discourse coherence is such a complicated concept that is related to almost every aspect of discourse communication. Secondly, there is no all-embracing rule governing coherence analysis. Every scholar presents his or her insight into one aspect of discourse coherence and views it from different angles. Based on the above illustration, the author will present a comparative view to discourse coherence in this article that we are talking about. So that's the short explanation about a general survey of discourse coherence. Next, we will talk about cohesion and coherence that will be presented by Ismi and Arman. Okay, Ismi and Arman, time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the chance that given to me. Next, Kak. Okay. Cohesion and coherence are two hard distinguished linguistic terms in discourse analysis, though they share the same morpheme. Coherence, there are differences. Cohesion and coherence are first studied by Halliday and Hassan in their book Cohesion in English. They take the view that the primary determinant of whether sense of sentence do or do not constitute a text depends on cohesive relationship within and between the sentence, which create texture. A text has texture, and this is what distinguishes it from something that is not a text. Cohesion can hold segments of a text together, making it a semantic advice. The importance of the cohesion lies in the continually it expressed between one part of the text and another. Halliday and Hassan category 5 kinds of cohesive devices and subclassify them. The categories of cohesion are shown in the diagram. Cohesion plays an important role in discourse when a cohesive relation is set up between two elements. They are thereby at least potentially integrated into a text. It's clear that cohesion, one component of textual function, is realized by lexicogrammatical units in a discourse. Thank you. I think that's all for me. Back to the second speaker.
Okay, thank you, our friends that you have been given to us. So I will next continue. It's also about the coherence and cohesion. So as the definition of coherence, Crystal defines coherence as the main principle of organization, which is assumed to account for the undefined functional connectedness of a pieces of spoken or written language. Also, it can be drawn. The coherence involves the study of such as about the factor as the language users, and maybe the interferences they make, and also and the assumption they hold, but involves the study of the way in which communication in mediated through the use of speech aid. Obviously, grammatical and lexical links are not taken into the consideration in this definition. And another definition of coherence held by Reinhardt in also 1980 is that coherence is composite of the semantic and grammatical connectedness between discourse and context. And about the coherence and the cohesion, by connectedness, he means also Reinhardt, the sentences in a text are in connected with each other in semantic and grammatical. However, the Belgrade and races in 1981 view cohesion and coherence as two an entirely separated concept. They purpose cohesion to be the structural relation on the text surface, while coherence, the structural relation underlying the surface. It is obvious that cohesion and coherence are two different concepts in discourse analysis. They share the same morpheme. It means about the cohere. The next slide, please. Okay. Actually, in this part is about many words about the expert say about the coherence and cohesion. But based on previous researches on cohesion and coherence, the author actually in Rehan views cohesion and coherence as two different about the interrelated linguistic terms important in discourse analysis. They are formally rather than functional different, but cohesion is more obvious than coherence. So it only deals with the surface structure of a discourse. Here, coherence is characteristic of being over and covered, be over or superficial. That means coherence is something that available is the surface structure. It's a relatively easy to identify methods for investigating over coherence and mainly directed of the description of linguistic and discourse analysis. And by Halliday and Hassan, 1976, it reveals that contribute made by linguistic factor, such as by covered coherence. It means that coherence that means about the cognitive, pragmatic device, but the psychology based on this sense, the addresses needs bridge, for example, the inference, background knowledge, and imagination, and etc. to guide the comprehension of the discourse. So if we talk about the difference, coherence and cohesion, it's also many about the meaning, just it. Okay, I think just enough for us. And I'll be back to moderator again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ismi and Arman. The next we will talk about the nature of discourse coherence that will be presented by Asti and Sri. Asti and Sri, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity to me. So here I will explain about nature of discourse coherence. Next, please. Okay, linguists hold two different views towards the nature of discourse. First is discourse as a static product, and the second is discourse as a dynamic process. So here, I'll explain about discourse as a static product. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, discourse as a static product. Following the discourse as a product view, linguists study how coherence relations are realized on the surface of discourse, or the linguistic devices used to connect different parts in a discourse. It is an attempt to characterize discourse coherence as a linguistic phenomenon. They define coherence as a visible and observable thing, and analysis along this line is text-based and feature as descriptive, not explanatory. It is mainly concerned with the linguistic relation of coherence relations, paying little attention to the influence of non-linguistic factors such as context on the actual process of communications. And here, the representative of this approach are Holiday and Hassans. It's talk about cohesion and freeze is about thematic progression. So I think enough from me. Next to the next presented, my friends, Sri Nurnanin Sialih. Time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the chance you has given to me. Now I would like to continue the presentation or the explanation. It's about nature of discourse coherence. Okay, as our member have explained about that, it is the nature of discourse coherence have divided into two aspects. The first one is static product, and the second one is a dynamic process. So this is the second part of it. It's about dynamic process. Okay, for the other perspective is discourse as a process view, which takes discourse coherence as a dynamic process and studies it from pragmatic and psychological aspects. This approach concerns with how linguistic devices are operated cognitively by participants during the dynamic interactive process to communicate successfully and resulting in a coherent discourse. Thus, it is interpretive rather than descriptive. Okay, then next. Next slide, please. Okay, so therefore, in order to explore the nature of discourse coherence, these two aspects must be combined. It is both a static and dynamic process. So as a conclusion of that, a coherent discourse cannot only be achieved by linguistic device, but also by mutual efforts of participants in communication, because the differences in content and participant cognitive abilities, what is to be communicated may take a quite different form. I think that's enough for me. I give it back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Asti and Sri. And for the last speaker, we will have Vira to present the summary for us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity that given to me. In this time, I want to present the summary of our presentation tonight. This article presents a new perspective to the story of discourse coherence, the cognitive perspective. Discourse can be regarded as the coherent group of sentences or sentence fragments that function as record of a communicative event, whether spoken or written, which can be approached as a dynamic process of interaction between participants in a communicative event. Discourse can be analyzed from discourse as statistic product, and the other is discourse as a dynamic process. From the point of view of from the point of view of these cars as a product which is release of the surface of these cars by various linguistic devices used from the point of view of these cars as a process. Coherence is the consequence of interaction between the addresser and addressee, which can be achieved by mutual efforts of both communicator and addressee. However, this is not a pure theoretical study, which can be further applied to discourse teaching. Students should be aware of the fact that discourse coherence not only depends on various linguistic devices, but also the involvement of the interpreter to figure out the implied relevance.
Okay, thank you, Vira, for the summary for this section. I think that's all for our group, that we have talked about mainly 4 things: the definition of discourse coherence. The second, we have a general survey of discourse coherence. The third, we have cohesion and coherence. And the last, we have nature of discourse coherence that we have presented just now. I think that's all for our group. Thanks for the viewer, maybe. Thank you, Ismi. Thank you, Asti. Thank you, Vira. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Angeline. Thank you, Sri. Thank you, Arman. We close by kafaratul majelis. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.